Right, what is up, everybody? We have Peggy Oberthier here with us. We're going to do some tapping. Do you want to just explain what that is real quick, and then you're just going to run us through a quick session?
Yeah, so EFT tapping, or it's known as emotional freedom techniques, is a modality that is known as the fourth wave of psychology, is energy psychology. And it was invented by this Stanford engineer called Gary Craig. Sorry, my mind is blank there. And basically it works with stimulating acupressure points on the body. And we narrowed it down to about 8 for this particular modality. And while you're saying statements, and what it does is it basically calms the nervous system down and calms the body down to create a different relationship between a thought and your nervous system. So it's working at that arousal level of your body when you have a particular stressful thought. And as we say the statements, that is just the truth of where you are at the moment, whatever the negative thing that's happening in your body at the time, or in your mind at the time, we tap on them, and it's basically a combination of acupressure points, exposure therapy, talk therapy, and with this somatic element. And it calms the body down. So I don't know if I've given that enough justice, because there are some incredible experts in this area who've explained it in very succinct ways. So that's EFT is a very quick tool for people to use to basically self-soothe and to reduce stress in any kind of situation.
Yeah, sounds good. Mm-hmm. When you did first tell me about this, I went home and looked it up and did try it. Like, obviously tried to follow along on a YouTube video. So I'm excited to see the difference. So everybody listening along or watching, obviously it's going to be very different with a professional doing it in person to watching and following along. Yeah,
well, I have trained in through EFT International, which is a evidence-based, training program that is quite rigorous, and we learn the evidence-based or clinical EFT protocols. And what you see on YouTube and what you see in the apps, they're very generalized sort of guidelines about a particular emotion. So you would be tapping on anxiety in general. The way that clinical EFT works, evidence-based EFT, is that you have to get very specific with whatever the element is that, or the issue that you're stressed about, or upset about, or sad, or angry. And so I think that people that have tried it on the apps and tried it on YouTube, they haven't really found the benefits, because they're tapping too generalized. I mean, if you say, I feel angry, well, you might have 1,000 things you're angry about in your lifetime. You're not going to get from a high level. So with tapping, we give it a subjective score out of 10. So 10 meaning that it's really intense emotion, and then 0, it's not. And then we have a setup statement. So we basically just say, even though I have this frustration because I cannot find a car park in front of my house, and it's raining, and I feel this frustration in my shoulders as feels tense, I'm trying to accept myself anyway. And we say that 3 times, tapping on the side of the hand as the starting point. And then you're tapping through the points essentially after that. This frustration, this frustration, this frustration on the side of the eye. I should actually say it out loud exactly what I'm doing, right? And this frustration under the eye, under the nose, and between the lip and the chin, and just at the top of the collarbone, and the last one is underneath the arm. And so you're tapping on those points, and as I'm saying the statements, this frustration, this frustration, this frustration, I'm actually calming my body, because we're actually stimulating the vagus nerve, which is responsible for that parasympathetic nervous system. And what you might notice when you have a feeling is that you actually also have a somatic element. When you talk to people about anxiety, it's usually in the stomach, or their throat might constrict, or they have a heaviness in their chest. When you're talking about anger, there's like tension in the shoulders, there's tension in the body. And I can see it when I'm working with clients. Sometimes they start talking and then their whole body starts shaking and their knees start, and I said, it makes you feel jittery. Yes, it makes you feel jittery. And so what we're doing is we're recognizing that somatic element, we're saying the statement, and as we're stimulating these acupressure points, which are scientifically proven through, Chinese meridian studies, it actually calms the body down. It actually, so it's like we're releasing energy blocks in the meridian system. And by accepting ourselves, we're allowing ourselves just to really ride the wave of an emotion in a safe, calm way. And so CBT works brilliantly. There's lots of other modalities, but this one's really quick, and this is what I really like about it.
Okay, sounds good. Can we do it with us too at the same time? Yeah,
so there's this wonderful thing called Boro benefits. So as we're tapping along and somebody is saying the statements, it works really well in groups, you will probably relate to some elements or some emotion that Jack's having, and you'll also be calming your body down at the same time. And as you're calming your nervous system down, there's the mirror neuron effect as well. So I'm calming my nervous system down as I'm working with you.
Okay.
And so then you're then picking up on my calm body, if I'm calm. And it's really, really interesting because when you work with clients who are super, super sensitive and almost they're like these highly sensitive individuals, like super empathic, if you are nervous, angry, worried, whatever they're working on, they'll actually feel that, and you know that you're actually not fully present in and working on them. So, and this has happened to me when I'm working with students in the schools. So they might be saying to me, I had a panic attack and the teacher wouldn't let me out. So we're tapping and it starts to reduce, and then all of a sudden I have a thought, I'm so angry at that teacher for not letting this kid leave the classroom because she was meant to have a well-being pass. And then all of a sudden it gets stuck and I go, oh, you're feeling my anger. Oh no. Okay, I'm gonna release my anger now. And she's like, yes, I can feel your anger. That's how that's how sensitive some clients are. So getting back to the point is that you will actually, it'll benefit Jack. Okay. So for a demonstration like this, we want to kind of, you're obviously not going to tell me any childhood trauma or anything, because what we want to do is just kind of hit something that is, like 0 to 10. It's just something that annoys you, or thinking about a future event that you might be nervous or worried about, or something that happened recently that bugged you. So with EFT, we get very specific and we talk about events or situations. So for example, in schools where I'm working at the moment, a kid will say, come in tears going, I can't write the maths test. I say, okay, well, tell me about what's happening for you. And they go, I just can't do it. So when we drill down, it's actually, you get really specific. It's actually just the linear equations she doesn't know. So then we start tapping, even though I have all this fear because I don't understand linear equations, I'm trying to accept myself anyway. So even though I have all this fear and I feel it in my chest, I'm trying to accept myself anyway. So then we tap through the points and we get down to the end. And once the body's calm, what I really love about EFT is that the prefrontal cortex comes back online. That's your problem solving and thinking part of your brain. And then all of a sudden, these lovely teenagers, I haven't given them any advice. They just go, I think I'll just sit beside Olivia and I'll email the teacher. Yeah. And I'll go, that's a great idea. Look at how. So this is what I love about, is that when you're having a really bad stress response, we know that teenagers flip their lids. Adults do the same thing. Our prefrontal cortex is offline. We can't actually come up for solutions. As EFT practitioners, we're not actually saying, you should try this, or have you tried that? We're literally calming their body down. Then all of a sudden, all this wisdom comes out. So this is, so if you want to choose something that maybe, I don't know. So give me a particular topic that you might want to run with, Jack, here.
Okay. I'm worried that this podcast won't perform as good as I want.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So That is, okay, this is an interesting topic. So what I want to do now as a practitioner is just, I want to drill down because that is still quite general.
Yeah.
Okay. So what I'm picking up is that there might be some other things with previous podcasts that have disappointed you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't want to put in all this work, get you in, then I don't know, something go wrong, or people don't watch it, or people don't get the value out of it.
Yeah.
Or I guess maybe I don't do a good job at interviewing you enough to get some good information out.
I see. Okay. All right. So, okay. So when you think about that worry, 0 to 10, 10 is like it's a really intense worry. 0, there's no worry at all.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you sit?
Maybe a 6.
A 6. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And so when you're thinking about, out of all of those things that you mentioned, what's the thing that is worrying you the most?
I would say probably me not being good at interviewing.
Okay. Me not being good enough at interviewing. Yeah. Okay. So, and when was the last time that you, like thinking back to a podcast, was there a podcast that you listened to and you went, oh.
That I listened to?
Yeah, that you listened to and you were a bit...
Probably every single one I've done so far. Like I could have done better.
Okay.
But obviously in the moment I don't.
Okay.
I don't pick up on those things, I guess, inexperience of doing it.
Okay. All right. So there's lots of stuff here, actually. Yeah, because like there's in EFT, what's really interesting, and I'm just going aside, I would never do this in a session, by the way, but this is for the purposes of the demonstration. So with EFT, we have called core issues, and they're kind of like the tabletop. So core issues like things like, on the big scale, is things like, I'm not lovable, I'm not good enough, you're really hard on yourself. So I'm not good enough would be like a tabletop, and then there would be all these past experiences in your life that are the legs holding up that tabletop. So for example, we would say, I screwed that up, I screwed this up, but it goes all the way back to primary school. The teacher gave me my test back and said, this isn't good enough, Jack. You could have done better. Yeah. And so we get this programming from a very young age, from parents inadvertently, and from society, etc. And so we have this like big long tabletop. So like for me as a practitioner, I would probably set a goal over five or six sessions with you about wanting to change the intensity of that core belief for you. So for example, your core belief might be, I'm not very good at podcasting or interviews, right? So how true for you would that be? 0 to 100%?
Yeah, probably 50-50.
50%. So 50% true at this stage, right? Okay. So what we would then do is we'd try to set a goal of maybe what would be a realistic goal for you to feel a little bit more confident in your podcasting abilities. Where would you think you might go?
I guess exposure. I guess previously I've interviewed people that are comfortable for me.
Yeah.
This is probably the most uncomfortable one I've done. Not in the situation, but more that we haven't had a lot of prior knowledge of each other.
Yeah.
So that would,
Okay, so like for you to feel more comfortable as a podcast interviewer, anything below 50% would put you in a winning. Yeah. So what we do as a practitioner then, we would say, okay, let's try to shave 10% off that core belief that I'm not very good at interviewing, right? Something like that.
Yep.
So then from there, we would then set a session goal. So that would be like our 5-session goal, right? So what we would have to do over 5 sessions is we would target specific elements of where you have felt that in the past. Yeah? Okay. And then I would, and what it might drill down to, and maybe in the 4th or 5th session, I would say, and do you have an early memory of this, right? So then we could go then to that. So the idea that we would have like instant relief from this particular issue would be in a non-realistic sort of demonstration. But it's a really good question because exactly what you're asking about is faith. This is everyone's like major issue, isn't it, right? Fear of failure, fear, not being good enough. And so, the traditional approaches to changing your thoughts, right? The CBT, the gold standard. It's wonderful, right? So, okay, Jack, put that thought down. Like, I'm not a very good podcast interviewer. Okay, how true is that? I want you to be a detective and then challenge your thoughts. And then, you change your thought. How does it feel? But oftentimes people who are stuck in their head, right? Yeah? They're in that loop. Oh, I should change my thought. And then all of a sudden they're beating themselves up for changing their thought. What I love about EFT is that you're working with a practitioner, and then as you notice those thoughts are coming back up, you're just riding the wave of that feeling. Even though I have this worry, and then that I'm actually not very good at interviewing. And because I asked a really dumb question. So what I would do with you in the session is we would get really specific about one element of a time in one of your interviews where you went, that was terrible, right? And we would then process that particular memory or emotion or thought. And from there, we would hopefully reduce it from a 6 out of 10 in that very specific element. And we're just taking away one leg from the tabletop then. And eventually, we might hit 4 or 5 other, and then all of a sudden, the tabletop collapses. Now, some people, and the older you are, the harder it is to go through because there's so many experiences, which is why I love working with adolescents. Yeah. They're a little, the tables are not, they don't have as many legs. So that's the idea. Okay. And the problem with the apps, the problem with the YouTube self-guided is that we're only seeing what's on the surface at the moment. But what's underneath holding in that worry are all our past experiences. And what might be, like if you're tapping on, for example, somebody, this is one, so throughout my training, I worked with a lot of adult women because it was COVID. And a lot of my friends were locked down like me. So we were, I'm so mad at my husband because he left the towels on the floor and I'm sick of picking them up. So you get really specific. I'm tapping along going, this isn't about the towels on the floor, right? It's not towels on the floor, right? The issue is he doesn't respect me or he doesn't listen to me. So then we would go from that is the major issue, and then we would probably end up going back to her childhood where this occurred with parents or intimate partners or in previous relationships, etc. So it's what is presented. You can get some relief, and we could probably tap you down to about a 3, but we couldn't really get to a 0, which is where we want to be with EFT, unless we went through all these other elements, if that makes sense. Yeah, 100%. So it's
it's not just listen, follow along. It's that makes a lot of sense. So I think, look, the thing that I absolutely love about it is that it is a tool for people to just sit with a feeling in a safe way, and it calms the body down. And what it does is it's just trying to reduce your stress. So even if you don't have the words, right? So some of the homework that I give students is that I just want them to tap, right? You notice, my stomach's going like that when I look at my chemistry book. All right, let's just tap. Just tap on the body. It's another hack of calming your body down before you do something that you don't want to do. Like procrastination is littered with its uncomfortable feelings. So let's avoid them. This is a tool to help people with uncomfortable feelings. So that's what I really love about it. Yeah. Now I've gone on a bit of a tangent. So the live demonstration didn't happen, but I think to be, to adequately represent the clinical EFT and the evidence-based EFT, I have to put those caveats in there. Yeah, 100%. That it's, so it has to be something like minor, like a minor irritation as a demonstration. So,
And it could, it's a, so for example, I don't know, it could be, it could just be, I'm not really sure what you could.
Could it be like something that annoys me when I go to the gym here?
Oh,
it's
yeah.
dirty.
Oh, yeah.
The gym's always dirty.
Oh, yes.
Is
Let's
that
step. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Yes, you are a cleaner, Jack. I have noticed that. Yeah.
I just like to work
good.
out in a clean spot.
Yeah. Okay. So is it the dirt or the messiness? Is it the weights are not put away, or is it the?
It's probably like the dirt. The machines are covered in sweat.
Oh, the machines are covered in sweat. Oh, yes. So this is something where we're going to do some board benefits for me, because I completely agree with that. So, and is there a particular machine that's covered in sweat the most that you think of?
The stair climber.
Oh, the stair climber. Okay. Yeah, so people are on the stair climber and they're not wiping themselves. They're not wiping it down after they're done.
Strip all over the place, and then and I've got to clean it before I get on.
Right. Okay. So, I hear you. That is a really gross and disgusting thing. Yeah. Okay. So, thinking about this last time it happened, was that yesterday, I'll bet?
No, as today. I was going to jump on it this morning, but I just finished my workout early because I just couldn't have been bothered to clean it before I jumped on.
Okay. So when you think about that, how does that make you feel? What's the feeling?
Probably anxious, because I wanted to do something and then I feel like I couldn't do it. So, probably shouldn't stop me doing it, but then I didn't do it. So it's like that anxious of doing something I should have done, but I didn't.
Okay, doing something you should have done, but you didn't, and that made you feel anxious.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So 0 to 10, how intense is that anxious feeling when you think that you should have done a workout, but you didn't because there was sweat all over the machine?
Yeah, probably look around about the same, 5 or 6.
5 or 6, yeah, fair enough. And where do you feel that in your body?
Probably like here.
In your
Yeah,
in your chest area. Okay,
yeah.
so is that like is it like a fluttery feeling? Is it like a tightness? Is it a heaviness? People describe it.
It's probably more just like a fluttery.
A fluttery feeling
Yeah.
in your chest. Okay. All right, so we're going to start, and you want to tap along as well. So the
Absolutely.
I'm going to go through exactly where the points are to start off with,
Yep.
and then we'll say the words after that. So you take 2 fingers, or you can take 3 fingers, or I use 4, and you're basically tapping on just on the side of your hand right here. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter what hand you use. You can switch it up. So this is the first point, the tapping. And so you usually tap, maybe 10 times. And then the next point after we say the 3 statements is on the top of the head. And so you kind of have to stay at the top of the head. Now, Dr. Peter Stapleton starts at the top of the eyebrow. It doesn't really matter. I learned EFT International, we start at the top of the head. She ends with the top of the head. A lot of the Australian, it's all saying 8 points. Okay. The next point is like the corner of the eyebrow. Now, some people might just tap with 2 fingers. They might tap on one side. I tap on both sides. It's just how I learned, and I just like it. But you'll see Dr. Peter Stapleton and other people just tapping with one hand, and that's perfectly fine as well. And we want to try to keep our eyes open when we're tapping. Okay. And the next is on the side of the eye. That's the next point here. And we're just trying to take slow breaths as we're doing this. And the next point is underneath the eye, just on that sort of soft pad right there. And after that, we're going to go underneath the nose. And then underneath the lip, in between the chin. And then this one is just underneath the collarbone. So it's kind of like, there's the collarbone there, and there's just 2 spots there. You can use one hand or 2. And then the next one it's about 4 inches down. That's my American, Canadian though. Underneath here, sort of like if you were wearing a bra, that's where the top of your bra would be, Jack. Right along there. And that is essentially a round of tapping. So let's try. Now, normally when I'm with a client, I'll take notes because when we're tapping, we use the exact words that the client has said. So it's very important that I'm that what I'm tapping on is exactly the truth for you, that I haven't changed the words or I haven't assumed anything. So normally as you're talking, I would take notes and I would say like, oh, and I would use your words. Like sometimes it's swear words, sometimes it's all sorts of things. But yeah, so if we could just go back, so just start tapping. So, and the setup statement that I'll say, we say it 3 times. For whatever reason, Gary Craig believed that that was the most powerful way to address the issue. So, and it was anxiety because you couldn't get your workout in because it had sweat all over it, the stepping machine, specifically this morning, and that made you feel anxious.
So I couldn't finish my workout.
Because you couldn't finish your workout. Okay.
Yep.
Okay. So as I say the statement, if there's anything that doesn't ring true, you just change the words exactly how it resonates with you. That's what I say with every client. So we start off with, even though, and just repeat after me.
Even though
I have this anxious feeling.
I have this anxious feeling.
And I feel it as a flutteriness in my chest or a fluttery feeling.
I feel it in my chest as a fluttery feeling.
Yeah. When I think about this morning.
When I think about this morning.
At the gym.
At the gym.
I couldn't complete my workout.
I couldn't complete my workout.
There was sweat all over the stepping machine.
There was sweat all over the stepping machine.
And I couldn't be bothered cleaning it.
And I couldn't be bothered cleaning it.
Again. Because I always have to.
Because I always have to.
Yeah. Okay. Does that all sound right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So take a breath in. I'm doing my best to accept myself anyway.
I'll do the best to accept myself anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So some people don't want to accept themselves with their feelings. So we say, like, you can use all sorts of things, like I accept myself anyway, or it's just where I'm at right now. For something like this, how does it feel to try to accept yourself that you have that anxious feeling?
It
feels okay?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. So we'll just keep doing. So even though
I
have this anxious feeling.
I have this anxious feeling.
When I think about being at the gym this morning.
When I think about being at the gym this morning.
And there was sweat all over the machine.
And there was sweat all over the machine.
Again.
And
I couldn't finish my workout.
And I couldn't finish the workout.
And I feel this in my chest.
And I feel this in my chest.
But that's just the truth for now.
And that's just the truth for now.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Okay. And then you take a breath in. Okay. Even though I had this anxious feeling. When I think about being at the gym this morning.
When I think about being at the gym this morning.
There was sweat all over the machine.
Sweat all over the machine.
And I couldn't complete my workout.
And I couldn't complete my workout.
And I have this feeling in my chest.
And I have this feeling in my chest.
But that's just the truth for now.
That's just the truth for now.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Okay, so now we're going to tap around the points and we're just going to use the feeling as the reminder phrase. So you go, this anxious feeling.
This anxious feeling.
And then just take a breath in. This anxious feeling.
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 And a breath in. And this anxious feeling.
This anxious feeling.
Okay. There we go. Now you can take a sip of water, which is actually another little hack to calm the nervous system down. And hydration is really important when you're tapping. So just tuning in and 0 to 10, how intense is that anxiety? Or sometimes there's different aspects or thoughts that come up.
Yeah, I still wish I did it, but when I think about it, the tightness the fluttery in the chest isn't there.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 to 10, how intense is that anxiety now?
I'd say about a 4 or 5.
A 4 or 5?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's left over in that 4 or 5? In the negative way, like what might be still...
Oh, look, it's just like I wanted to get the stairs done because I knew raising my heart rate in that moment would give me a better feeling, and I'd complete my workout, and my workout still feels incomplete, if that makes sense.
Okay. So, and is it still anxiety, or is there a different feeling?
Just the anxious, like the fluttery in my chest around not being able to finish it.
Okay, so even though I still have this anxious feeling
when I think about this morning,
because it's good to get your heart rate up,
and
I wasn't able to complete my workout because of the sweat on the stepping machine. Yeah. Does that all sound good? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. But I accept myself anyway. Because it's just the truth for now. That's right. Okay. So even though I have this anxious feeling, when I think about the gym this morning, I couldn't complete my workout. I know getting my heart rate up is really good for my fitness. And I couldn't do it. I just couldn't do it because of the sweat on the machine. And that's just where I'm at right now.
And that's just for now.
Yeah, and I accept myself anyway.
Okay,
take a breath in. So even though I have this anxious feeling that I didn't get to complete my workout, it's just the truth for now. And I accept myself anyway. Okay. This anxious feeling. Now, sometimes when you're doing this on your own, you would just repeat the emotions, but I feel like we can. Sometimes clinicians will add in some of the elements from what you spoke about. Yeah, you say the sweat on the machine. Yeah, couldn't complete my workout. Just right here on the side of the eye is the spot. Yeah. I know it's good to get my heart rate up. But I couldn't do it. It makes me feel anxious. This anxious feeling. And another slow breath in. This anxious feeling. Okay. Cool. Now have some water. And how are you finding this, Mac?
I feel really relaxed.
Very cool. That's really good.
Really relaxed. I don't know.
Yeah.
I do just like in general, I feel like I subconsciously do tap, not in the sequence, but I often do this like on my collarbone.
Yes.
And I didn't know until today that was like actually, there's probably a reason for that, right? That I gravitate towards here.
Yes. Yeah.
So I really like it. It's really relaxing for me.
Very cool. That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. So going back to you, Jack, how are you feeling right now when you think about that issue?
Yeah, much better.
Cool.
It's when you sit with it and you go through those points, it's just like, I don't know, you stop worrying about it in that anxious way. Like I know it's still there and, you know, I missed it, but I'm not anxious that I didn't get to finish my workout. And like, you know, that health benefits are still going to be there next time.
Yeah. So 0 to 10, how intense is the anxiety?
Yeah, probably like a 2 or a 3.
A 2 or a 3.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the goal is like a 0 or a 1. So just thinking about that 2 or 3. What else is left over, do you think?
I'd say it's just, me not getting the health benefits from the workout.
Not getting the health benefits, okay. So because of somebody else. Like, I'm wondering, I'm curious that if it's just about you not getting the health benefits, or is it somebody stopping you from getting the health benefits? Or like what part is left over? Because there, you know, sometimes what happens is when you get to the end, right, is there might be, sometimes the anxiety can go, and I would never say this to a client, I'm stepping out of my class here. Sometimes the anxiety is anger, right, or frustration. And but we've been programmed to like not feel angry and just be nice, and so you know, to allow yourself to actually go there. So sometimes there's this lingering element that you're like, you know,
Yeah, okay.
or it
Yeah.
feels disrespectful that, you know, like, anyway, so with in a normal session with really good questioning,
Yeah.
I could get to that, you know, that aspect. But like it says, it can take an hour to go through one aspect one issue, because there's multiple aspects to the one issue,
Yeah.
right?
Mm.
So I'm wondering if there's anything else that,
Yeah, I guess I feel angry because the person before me didn't do it, and I know it's so easy to do.
let's tap on that. Okay. So even though I have this anger,
Even though I have this anger,
and where's that in your body, Jack?
in my chest still.
In my chest?
In
yeah.
my chest.
Okay. The person before me left the sweat,
The person before me left the sweat,
and it's so easy to clean, and they didn't.
and it's so easy to clean, and they didn't.
Yeah, is that right? Is that,
Mm.
yeah, okay.
Mm.
And that makes me feel angry.
And that makes me feel angry
Yeah. Because then I couldn't do my workout.
because I couldn't do my
Okay.
workout.
All right, take a breath in. But that's just where I'm at for now.
And that's just where I'm at for now.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Okay. So even though
Even though
I have this anger,
I have this anger,
when I think about the person who didn't wipe down the stepping machine,
when I think about this person that didn't wipe down the stepping machine,
it's so easy to do,
it's so easy to do.
and they didn't,
And they didn't.
and I couldn't work out.
And I couldn't finish my workout.
That's just where I'm at.
And I'm just where I'm at.
And I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself anyway.
Yeah, I'm doing great. Okay, so even though I have this anger,
Even though I have this anger,
the person could have easily cleaned off the machine.
the person could have easily cleaned off the machine.
So easy to do.
It's so easy to do.
And they didn't.
And they didn't.
And I didn't want to.
And I didn't want to.
And so I missed my workout.
And I missed my workout.
But I accept myself anyway.
And I accept myself
Okay.
anyway.
This angry feeling,
This angry feeling,
leaving the sweat on the machine.
leaving the sweat on the machine,
It's so easy to clean.
so easy to clean.
But they didn't.
But they didn't.
This angry feeling.
This angry feeling,
This angry feeling.
this angry feeling,
This angry feeling.
this angry feeling.
There's actually one more angry point that I like to use that Gary Craig, the originator, is underneath the ribs. And it kind of reminds me of being like a gorilla that's having to say, this angry feeling.
This angry feeling.
It's a good one for anger. Okay. We'll just stay there for another little bit. Take a breath in. And we'll end with this, the top right here, this angry feeling underneath
This
the
angry
arm.
feeling.
Okay. And take another sip of water. Sometimes if it's not dropping, the client is actually quite dehydrated. You actually need the water to help with the vascular system that's calming your body down. Yeah.
Mm.
Okay. So
Yeah, no, it feels good in my chest.
fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so 0 to 10.
Yeah, like a 0.
A 0. Okay,
Yeah,
right.
It just, yeah, I feel relaxed. It's
Fantastic. That's really good. So now what I like to do is test, because what I want you to do is close your eyes. And so there's different ways of testing. We're going to test. So I want you to close your eyes and imagine you're staring at that sweaty machine this morning. Okay. Is there anything coming up for you right now? Anything left over?
good. No.
Nothing. Okay.
No, like, I can see it, but it's fine.
Great. Okay. Open your eyes now. Well, that worked really well.
Mm.
That's good, that demonstration. Because sometimes what happens is, you know, they close their eyes and they go, oh no, it makes me so sad, or whatever. There's another aspect or another element to it. So, and sometimes people just want to, if they're little people pleasers, the poor things, you know, they want to be seeing, and then I go, no, just close your eyes and stare at that methods textbook, right? And oh no, I'm going to fail it, you know, and then we go back and we just keep tapping until the elements are all gone.
Mm.
So yeah, it's important to test at the end, which is, you know, so it's basically your perceived stress level, which is, you know, the 0 to 10. And when you're working with a practitioner, you know, they, through questioning, can help you discover other aspects that might be bothering you, which is why working with a practitioner at the start is really important. So you can, for example, if you went back to the gym and you went to, let's say it was now at the leg press machine, and there was sweat all over that, and you noticed that your chest was getting that, you could go to the bathroom and do some tapping, going, oh, now the sweat's on the leg machine. I'm so sick and tired of, and you could tap, even though I have this anger, there's sweat on the leg machine. I accept myself anyway. So I've taught you how to calm your body down when you have that arousal from that negative stress response from a situation. So that's the beauty of it, is that I'm not asking you to change your thought and look at it in a different way.
No.
I'm saying, here's your feeling, here's a tool, recognize it in your body and let it out. Accept yourself anyway. So that's what's really powerful about EFT. It's a tool to ride the wave of an emotion, because all emotions are valid and normal, right? They're all valid and normal.
I was literally about to say that.
Yeah.
I just feel like it's still there, but it's my emotions. It's not like I'm trying to get rid of them.
Yeah.
It's there and it's okay.
Yeah. And so it's a safe and gentle way. And so, I haven't described, but I work in schools. So I've been working in schools since 1999. And I started off as a teacher, and then I went in to do my master's in student wellbeing, which is sort of half counseling, half policy work. And then I did every short course possible available in counseling, learning CBT, motivational interviewing, DBT, ACT therapy. I learned all of the modalities on those trainings, and I implemented them and used them, and they're good. But in a school setting, I'm dealing with a lot of mental health first aid. So kids in crisis are coming in with panic attacks. And in the past, so prior to becoming an EFT clinician, some kids I just couldn't calm. You couldn't do anything. They just had to go home. They couldn't go back to class. They would come in. They'd had a panic attack, not even sure what the trigger was. They would just have to go home. And then when I said, hey, do you want to try this crazy thing? And they're just crying or whatever. Now, we never add the words in. We're literally just tapping and breathing. We're tapping and grounding. So we're doing the 5 things you can see, 4 things you can hear. We're still doing that, but we're tapping along. Because often kids, when they're starting to have a panic attack, or even adults, for example, the panic is with the breathing, and then they're told just breathe. And then it's just like this horrible cycle where like, I can't breathe, I don't know how to breathe. So I go, forget the breathing. I don't say any slow breath. I'm literally just tapping with them. And honestly, and I don't mean to brag, but in 15 minutes I can get kid back to class. So, and this is actually how Dr. Peter Stapleton discovered it, is that she was running clinical, she was a student psychologist, and there was an eating disorder group, and this girl had this sort of episode of feeling quite heightened, and this guy, one of the other psychologist students, took her outside and then brought her back really quickly, and Dr. Peter Stapleton said, what did you do? And he said, I did this tapping thing. That was so quick. So it's really fascinating that, this is how it started. And then she did all this incredible research around food cravings and then pain. And now she's doing all sorts of clinical trials. And she teaches it at the Bond University in the Gold Coast. So it has all these particular, physiological changes in the body that they have measured. So it's not just your perception. So you're telling me right now that the perception is that you have reduced your stress, which is what we really need. But on a scientific level, we test the saliva of people pre and post intervention, and there's a 37. I'll just got to get that statistic correct. I believe it's
right.
37% decrease in saliva. Sort of cortisol that was tested from the saliva after a 1-hour tapping session. It's pretty incredible. And this is in a group, right? And that's a double-blind placebo control trial that was replicated. We have immune system markers down by, up by 113%. So you want immune system markers up, following interventions, and blood pressure down. So that's pretty incredible. And it's applicable to all sorts of stress-related presentations. So
people that are listening along, whether they've got kids and they want to help their kids with this, or for themselves, where should they start?
Yeah, look, I think the best place to start is through an accredited practitioner, I believe.
And how would somebody go?
Yeah, so they can look. Dr. Peter Stapleton
Yep.
is, and I can leave the link in the show notes, etc. She's the person that you start with. At the moment, I'm not doing private practice because I'm full-time in a school, and I was doing both. And then with my daughter in year 12, it was too hard. I love working in a school environment because you've got that team and you've got that, I just love working with adolescents. So there are, through EFT International and also through evidence-based EFT through Dr. Peter Stapleton's website, there's a link to practitioners that are fully trained. And what you want is somebody who's trauma-informed, who've done the trauma training practice as well, and they're linked to a research facility like Bond University, or through anyone through EFT International that's done the full practitioner training is also good. But you'll find that EFT practitioners generally choose a niche and focus on a particular area. So you've got experts who are they're social workers or psychologists. They might work with eating disorders of food, and there's other practitioners that just work with, let's say, adolescents or children. It's also evidence-based practice for PTSD. So people have worked with veterans, and in some of the trauma, unfortunately, communities that are affected by trauma. So yeah, I think that the best way to go about it is to look up through. She's got recommendation of different practitioner on her list, and then they have other lists of Unfortunately, there's not a lot in Melbourne if you want it in person. There seems to be a lot of practitioners that are, but online is a really good modality. It's just adolescents don't like being online, so that's why. And the funny thing about this modality is that, when a parent says, you need therapy, right? And so then, first of all, that's a terrible thing for an adolescent to hear. And then they say, we want you to see this person, and they're going to do this tapping. And they just roll their eyes and go, are you kidding me? This is the most woo thing. It's so stupid. And they don't want to be there anyway. So it's a bit trickier to get a parent to bring a kid to do EFT tapping. Yeah. Whereas in the high school, they're just coming on their own, and then they know me and they go, can we do that weird tapping thing? Yeah, we can do the weird tapping thing. So, yeah. So, and then I've got the kids, because you can tap through these finger points in your body that also can help calm your body down. So I've got kids I can see kids and I can see them tapping on the side of their hand, or they're just standing in a group and they might have some social anxiety, and I'm like, I can see them just tapping. They're not tapping through all 8 points, but they're stimulating some of this point to self-soothe and to kind of ride the wave of whatever the feeling is they have within the classroom. So if you get it at the start when they might notice that they might be having a panic attack or feeling nervous, it's really, really good.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for that. I feel much more relaxed
Fantastic.
and ready to get into some more podcasting. Thanks again.